play with a lot of pace. Play within our structure, defended first. You look at a couple of their goals there that we scored. The first one, they have possession in our zone for a little bit. We just kept it simple, trust each other, made the turnover, and then resulted off the rush, scoring a goal. So I think that's, we stuck to our identity and we're able to dictate the play there.
Was it as intense and physical as you expected?
It's sometimes the games take on, identity of their own, and there's games where there's 3 fights. There's games where there's a bunch of there's no power plays really tonight. Just a different game. Yeah, it's depending on who you're playing, and obviously we see these guys a lot. We're going to get some different games once in a while.
Does it feel like you have a stranglehold on first, or how would you describe it now?
We're never comfortable with it. It's we're pushing on to the next one. I think that's kind of been what's made us so successful this year. We're not resting saying, cruise control here. There's a lot of hockey left, 15 so games. You want to build this thing so that you're peaking at the right time. So that's definitely going to be an objective of ours.
You mentioned, being not getting comfortable, but did this game feel like one of importance given the fact that Dallas has been catching up in the standings and the divisional points that were at stake?
Different guys will have different opinions. I don't think so. It's just kind of another game in the regular season. 2 points up for grabs, and it maybe mean a little bit more, but the playoffs, it's such a different game. It's so different. We look at our series regular season versus Colorado in the regular season. I think we swept them last year, and we lost 4-1 in the playoffs. It's once you get the playoffs, it's a completely different animal. So there's not very much stake in that for me.
Regardless of how you feel about that game, what does it say about this team that in a game that was billed as a big game, you come out and perform the way that you did?
Yeah, well, that's going to be it the rest of the year. Every game now is going to be the next big game, right? It's going to keep getting bigger. So we were able to rise to the task today, and hopefully we learn some lessons and what that looks like, and kind of our foundation of how we were able to come out on top and play such a good game tonight, and we take that on to the next one.
When you say hopefully we learn some lessons, does it feel this year like this team has on this way learned a lot of those lessons already?
I sure hope so. We hammer it down in videos after wins and losses, and you can ask different guys to take different things. But overall, as a team, you can kind of see the maturity. I think the way coming into this game, just being calm, being not panicking, playing our structure, not getting out of it, frustrating the other team, and for sure.
On their one power play that they did get, 4 of your guys were out there for 2 minutes. There are some real warrior moments for your team too. What did you see on that, BK?
Sometimes you get stuck out there. It's you can't be as aggressive. The legs start to build up and start to get tired. And Sammy's been doing it all year. He's one of the best shot blockers, and it's such an underrated skill the way he's able to predict the shots and get in the lanes. And I think he took one off the shoulder there, and just they made a couple bump plays to get it out at the end. But you're going to need everybody. You're going to need special teams. You're going to need power play. Obviously, that was a big kill for us at that moment of the game, and it seems like they were able to rise to the challenge.
Your second goal, Josh makes a pass that just probably fools a lot of people on the ice, not you. What did you see on that rush?
He had a little bit of a gap coming in there, and the way he was kind of set up, and it would have been tough with back pressure coming on him to get a shot off. So I was just always ready to shoot if it was coming back, and he puts it between 2-3 guys there in their legs, and it's right on my tape. So it was a heck of a pass.
You may have thought it was just another game, but the atmosphere in there tonight, did it feel a little bit extra special with the way the crowd was?
Yeah, it was a little bit more, but still not playoffs.
Seemed like you were feeling it today. Not maybe last game. I thought with the feel.
Yeah, I think we were able to just for whatever reason in the game we were patient with it. It came to us. You're going to have those games throughout the season, and whether it was me not preparing well, doing certain things, but you learn from it, just like our overall team game. And personally, you take from it what you can and how you prepared, and hopefully I can be more consistent and not have those dips in my games.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
billed as, a real big game, divisional rival. What did you see from them, and why did you guys take away the 2 points?
Yeah, I think it was exciting. It kind of felt like, it's getting towards the end of the year. It almost felt like a playoff game. We know they're kind of creeping up on us in the standings there. So I think you always know what you're going to get from them. They play really fast. I know they're missing a few guys, but they're so deep. So, regardless of which guys they have in or out of the lineup or what line you're out there with, I think you always kind of got to be cautious. And, I just felt like we did a really good job with our defensive structure tonight and kind of started there and played out from there. So I think it was a good effort by us.
Kind of a weird one where the shot totals don't feel like they reflected the flow of play. What happened there?
I don't know. We had a few minutes there in the first where we pressed, and I looked up and it was one shot in the clock. So I don't know. I guess sometimes they get tipped in front and just go wide, or I'm not necessarily sure that the shot clock is always the best indicator of the momentum of the game or the flow of the game. But we got Hallie back there, so if they do outshoot us sometimes, we're usually okay.
What did you see on your goal, and how did you know it was definitely you?
I felt it hit my stick. It was. I just kind of went up the ice there and kicked it out to Al, and then me and Smokey almost connected on one the other night, but I clipped Igor's skate, so it was kind of a nice redemption for that.
The atmosphere tonight, almost felt close, like to a playoff one. Did it feel a little extra special out there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously we're aware of the standings. I think the fans and you guys are all aware of the standings. So, these are important games for us. This is a big push. I think we want to kind of hit the ground running when playoffs start. I don't think anyone wants to, creep in, not playing our best hockey. We're trying to put our foot down here and really secure that first place, and that's a big step for us. Obviously, those divisional games, but especially with Dallas being right behind us, is big.
What do you make of Tanev taking that puck off the helmet, waving off the bench, and then being a part of of the goal there?
Yeah, I think that epitomizes his personality and his play pretty good. I mean, he's a lot of fun to be out there with. Obviously, he has a ton of energy and plays really hard, and those things don't seem to slow him down too much.
Kyle talked about your game frustrating that team. Is that, do you feel this season, the way you guys play, the way you are on other teams, is that the moment in the game where you kind of know things are working and you've got them, when you can see the frustration coming out in them?
Yeah, I think it's a good sign. We talk about playing that defensive structure, kind of staying on top of teams and really stymieing their momentum. And I think when we're playing our best, that's exactly what it is. The other teams aren't necessarily kind of continuing that offensive flow that they get into, and we're able to kind of push back and kind of break up those sections of the game and ultimately push on ourselves. So, when we're at our best, I think you do see that out of the other team sometimes, and that's just kind of a good indicator that we're playing good brand of hockey.
Kyle kind of mentioned about how this group's maturity has been, a big part of being able to focus on one game at a time. Coming into a game like this that was billed as a pretty big game, how do you think your guys' approach, if at all, has been a bit different and more common level compared to years past?
Yeah, it does. We've been here now. At least, I can speak to it in the 3 years I've been here. It's kind of seems like we've been in, different situations, but similar. We're in a playoff spot heading down the stretch, and I think you just learn that as soon as you start looking ahead, whether it's looking ahead to the playoffs or looking ahead to the game next week or looking ahead to your next shift, you kind of get lost there. So I think it's been really good for us to kind of stay in that present moment, and especially we talked about it's been a big game here tonight. It was a big opportunity for us. So I think just kind of staying level-headed, staying present in every shift goes a long way.
There was a PK where 4 of your guys are out there for a full 2 minutes. Lots of big plays there. What did you see from that group?
Yeah, that's been an area I think there's been a lot of emphasis on it, obviously, especially seeing the power play excel the way it has. It almost feels like you're falling behind, even if it's not that bad. So, those guys, I think it was Lyles and Al out there. I can't even remember who was on the back end, but, just big shot blocks. Big efforts when you're out there for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and you have to race down to chase a puck and try to get it clear. Like, that's difficult to do. I don't think people necessarily appreciate how hard that is sometimes. So, that's winning hockey. Those are the moments that I think will be important down the stretch into the playoffs.
Thank you.
talking with Kyle about that game, he says, for him, he just approaches them all the same way. But when you ask him about, how this team responded, how it came out, set the tone in a game that's been billed as a big game, he kind of talked about, how this group has grown and matured over the years. And I want to know what you see from them heading into that game, how they handled that game that makes you believe this team is learning and getting better.
Yeah, it was a big game, and, difference between us being up 6 points or now being up 10 points. They recognize that, we had to be at our best against a really good hockey team that doesn't give you a whole lot of ice, doesn't give you a whole lot of room to work, and I thought we had a fantastic first period. It was real solid and got out and got the lead and didn't stop from there.
You talk about not giving them, them not giving you a lot of ice or a lot of space, but it looked like you were the team that was taking more of that away and had left them frustrated. Kyle talked about feeling their frustration. As a coach, when you see the frustration in the other team, what are you thinking?
I'm not really watching them so much. I mean, it was just the way we went about our business. They're a real good offensive team, and their offensive numbers are real high. Analytically, they're one of the top teams in the league as well, and we shut down a lot of avenues. We did a lot of good things. We created our goals by defending first. We got in, like I've talked about often, we played a 200-foot game of defense to make sure that they didn't get room to work, and it turned into offense for us, and that's what we've done all year long, and that's we got up and got ahead of them, and now they got to chase the game.
That atmosphere there tonight, did it kind of, from your vantage point, feel like a crowd that knew what was at stake in this kind of game? Did it feel different than other ones?
I don't know if it felt different, but you can tell it was loud. It was a Friday night in Winnipeg in the barn here. It was real electric. Especially when we scored early, it really got the crowd going, and I mean, they've been good all year. They've been watching a real good hockey team play, good hockey throughout the season, and to have them behind us for that one, that's a big boost. So this is one of many big games that we've played so far this year. We still got a few more to go down the road before we get to the end of the season. So, I like the way our group responded, and then again, I love the way the crowd responded.
Kyle spoke about how big strength of this team is being able to take things game by game. We've talked about that all year, and Morgan kind of said how a big part of it is they've been here before. They've been in a playoff spot in the final stretch. From your perspective, over the last couple of years, how would you best define the growth you've seen from the group in preparation for a game like tonight, and just how their demeanor?
Yeah, I think that every opponent that you face has something maybe different that they throw at you, whether it's how they defend or how they attack you offensively. We threw a game plan together. We did some things yesterday in practice to kind of align with what we wanted to do today. The guys grasp it, and then they go out and do it, and they execute it. And that's, as me as a coach, you'd love to see that they understand. We're trying to find avenues and maybe areas that we can take advantage of. Let's say it's Dallas tonight or it's Seattle on Sunday. You're trying to find an avenue where you can, make them make a mistake, and our group has bought into what we, how we go about our business, and whether it's defending and frustrating a team, or it's our offensive push that creates those scoring chances. I think that all that kind of the guys buy into it, and they do it night in, night out.
Scott, I've come to think of your starting lineup decisions as very intentional a lot of the time. And tonight you go with your big guns, your top line, your top pair, and then they go and get after it. So I'm wondering how much of that was intentional, giving them a chance to do what they went out and did for you.
Yeah. There's a little bit of both involved in that. Obviously, being at home, you have your call on when it comes to matchups. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes sometimes you challenge your, let's say it's Scheif or Vladdy's line, you challenge them to go head-to-head against some of the offensive lines on the other side. Can't say enough about what Lowry's line did against their other big line. So there's part of our sort of our how we want to attack and how we want to play against, let's say, Dallas tonight. There's also matchups that happen, and you have to win your matchup, and that to me is whether that's, like you said, Scheif going against Duchesne first shift and then them going after them. It's Lau going against Johnson and going after those guys. And it's kind of that's the guys recognize it. I don't always tell them what's happening. They recognize when they start to go over the boards against the same lines. And to me, you're going to bump heads shift after shift against the opposition. That's the advantage you got to learn to grow from. And I just think that starting those guys tonight, they gave us a real good first couple of shifts.
Thinking about one of the matchups, I think early on there were 2 D-zone shifts back to back for Luke Shen, where he's on the left wing boards and he's got Mikko Rantanen to deal with. One face-off, he boxes Rantanen out, reverses the puck. Next face-off, he fronts him, gets the puck first, reverses. Winnipeg gets out of the zone. So I'm wondering how important he has become to your matchups. And can a defenseman like that raise your face-off percentage by winning those?
Yeah, certainly things have changed here with P not being in the lineup. But Luke's, like I said, he's a veteran guy that's played in that position before. I think, and like I mentioned when we traded for him, there's a lot of players, and this isn't that random. This is just, there's a lot of players that take the long way around to get to certain places when he's on the ice, and it is evident. I obviously coached against him for a number of years, but to watch him sort of shift in, shift out, you see it. He's a physical presence, and when he uses his smarts, when he uses his hockey savvy to recognize that he can use his body to get those pucks. That just leads to us exactly puck possession. Maybe it's a face-off that's a 50-50 that, he leans in and gets that puck, and, it's a breakout for us.
There was a penalty kill where 4 of your skaters did 2 full minutes, and then Lowry lays a hit at the end of it. What goes into that moment?
Yeah, and it's the second period, the longest spot possible from the bench. So, you're just the first. I thought the first minute and 30, we did a great job of. Maybe for a minute and 20, we did a good job with our sticks, getting in the lanes. We had some pressure situations. Then you get into the last 30 or 40 seconds. Now you're in kind of hang-on mode, and obviously we did a good job of collapsing and kind of, if they're going to do anything, it was coming from the outside, and you don't really want to get in those situations. But we never really had a real clear chance to get a hold of the puck, and Dallas obviously made some plays, but we did a good, like I mentioned, we did a good job of keeping it to the outside as much as possible.
You said when you acquired Luke Shen that you wanted to get him playing with different players. Was the back half of the third period tonight when he was playing with Josh Morrissey, was that intentional to get him playing on the top pair differently?
I'll have to ask Dino about that one. I saw it a few times too. I think it was just the score kind of where it was at, and I think it was just kind of trying some different things, moving some bodies around that way.
And what does it say about a guy like Brandon Tanev that he can take a puck to the head and then play a big role in the 4-0 goal?
Yeah, I'm sure glad he didn't get hurt. Obviously, Fly was trying to dumped it into his face. But he's a character kid. He saw his energy. I was hoping that he'd score on that breakaway in that first, but he's got a lot of energy. He moves and he pressures quick, closes on people, finishes. And that line was really good. I thought that line was really good. They had some D-zone face-offs. They got stuck out on a icing. Bear won a couple of big draws. Liked a lot of what I saw there. Those guys played heavy, and then they scored. They got rewarded. They scored another goal, which is big for those group. You missed one.
Dylan Sandberg's, he missed that game about 10 days ago or whenever it was. Now his partner is hurt. He's got a new partner to deal with, and he shows up on it with a night like tonight, the PK, the goal, all that sort of stuff. So I wanted to ask about him and his arrival on a night like tonight.
Yeah, well, it's payback. Peak had to do all that. P had to do all the work when he was out, so he's got to take on a load. But the maturity of him, I've talked about him a few times this year. Growing into his role the last couple of years, and then us handing him, recognizing it's time for him to move up in the roster, and him embracing it and really being good at it. And he's done a real good job. I know we've talked about him. We know how good he is defending, his footwork, his ability to go back for pucks, PK. But now you're seeing the other side where he's out on the ice with our top 6 forwards and he's making plays, and it's what he did on the goal. And he's a guy that I think that guys like playing with him because he has all those qualities. And biggest thing for a big man, he's got mobility, and that certainly helps him and his partner.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.